What's going on, my good people? This your boy, Lap Up the Entertainer, here to bring you some action between Clark Atlanta and Central State University. This is going to be an interesting band battle between both of these bands. I was able to get halftime footage, and I was able to get a fifth quarter footage with them. So you know your boy going to grade it. You know what I'm saying? So this was the voters' request poll. And so I really appreciate everybody who participated in that poll. Really means a lot. Shows that y'all interested in seeing these battles. So, you know, y'all participation always counts. Okay? So, what we're going to be highlighted before we get into the, the scale. This is something I always wanted to tell people that, look, being in an HBCU band or being in any band is a sport. I think a lot of people some people go over that if they're not a band head, but understand that being in a band is a sport. So we're going to bring honesty and workflow. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it's about. We want honesty. And so that's why I'm here to bring y'all. Okay? Honesty. And for honest critique, So, that's why I wanted to highlight as far as that. You got to be in shape and everything. So for people who just tune in that's not a band head, now y'all know. Okay? So with that being said, let's get into the grading skills so you know what we'll be grading. Okay, for halftime, we graded entrance, songs, formation, dancers, breakdown, and overall creativity. Maximum points they can make in all those categories besides creativity is 25. If they're able to get a creative 5 with that, they'll get some extra incentive. Okay, so but what I'm looking for is, cleanness, consistency, 8 to 5. If you're doing lines, I'm expecting them to march 8 to 5, and it looks clean. Being in a line is a formation, so if it's a snake, it looks bad. Breakdown, I'm expecting to see 3 features. If I don't see 3 features, I will tax them, okay? So for people who don't know my grading scale and how I grade, there you go, all right? So if they're able to get a 25 in all those categories besides creative, I will also give them a perfect field show rating. And that's just me giving them praise. Alright? So if you're new to the family, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. And you've been rocking with your boy all this time, you better hit that like button. You feel me? So with that being said, man, we're gonna do Clark Atlanta's first, and then we're gonna do Central State. I look like this is Central State's homecoming. Also, shout out to Shaq TV for getting the footage for the halftime. Alright, I'm going to shut up. Let's get to it.
From the 2024 edition of the Clark Atlanta University, Mighty Marching Panthers. Your drum majors, Anaya, Queen Bee Daniel, Isaiah, the Fresh Prince Daniel, and head drum major, Nazaya, the Pharaoh Daniel. Show them some love. Today's show D is in memorial, where we pay homage to those we have lost far too soon. We start with 2 young men in the 1988 film Coming to America. Mr. John Hayes, who portrayed Church to Clear on the Down, and Mr. James Earl Cole, who portrayed King John Joker. Our signature, CAU formation. We are the both men this afternoon. With the King, Monica, Johnson.
5, so step off your shoes. Small 75. Step off your shoes.
And to Memphis, and all points in between. We're like Visa. We're everywhere you want to be. Martin Panthers, let's do like the OJ say. And tell the people what they want.
Let's get that agreed. So, creative is a 2. Entrance is a 5. Songs a 5. Formations, I'm going to give that a 4. Dancers a 5. Breakdown a 5. Okay, so with that being said, let me explain why. Almost a Perfect, really good show. I enjoyed that from them. Really good show. It was just some step-off issues coming off. You know, not coming off the field, but like when they about to do some of their drills, like that kind of hurt them just a smidget. Wasn't a whole lot of it, which is good. They shook back for the majority. It was more so in the beginning. So I have no true complaints when it comes down to that. So let's give that a grade. You know, again, I think it had its moments, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. They got a 26 on that one. Really good. Really good. Alrighty. So, moving on. If y'all made it this far, please consider liking and subscribing here on YouTube. Helps your boy out tremendously. Again, shout out to Shaq TV for getting the footage. Okay? I'm going to be honest with you, man. Central State is a force to be working with when it comes into that field. They have been impressing me. I haven't really seen any bad field shows from them. So, I think one of the things they got to make sure that they stay consistent with is that book. But we'll see.
Overcome, subdue, ready, trophy. It's only right that the official and show up on this magnificent homecoming.
start off with the dances. I love that part. That's pretty dope. I like that book. I like the ending. Yeah, thanks. That was pretty good. That was a good book. They pen was on point on that one. Energy. Cut up then. Let's give that a grade. Alrighty. So creative is a 3. Entrance was a 5. Songs is a 5. Formations, I'm gonna give them a 4. I just felt like it needed a drill. I mean, I was expecting a drill. I did not see a drill, and for whatever purpose, it was just very direct. So I can't really say anything about formations. I mean, it looked good, but I just feel like I needed a drill. If they had a drill, I would have gave it a 5. Dancers was a 5. Breakdown, I'm going to give them a 4. So let me explain the reason why on that. Breakdown, it was very clean. It had 3 features. However, I felt like some people was out there kind of guessing some of the moves, so it could have been slightly cleaner than what it needed. It was kind of, a little muddy in some of the moves. So just, they had the energy. So that's why it was a 4. I just wish it was just a tad bit cleaner than it would have been a 5. Okay? If they didn't have the energy and people was kind of guessing, it would have been a 3. So they did pretty good. But let's see, was that enough to beat Clark? Let's see. They got a 26 as well. They got a 26. So, right now, as we speak, ladies and gentlemen, Central and Clark are tied. Okay? So, they're tied in the halftime. Okay? There's no favoritism, again, involved, but, it's going to come down to this 5th quarter to see who was the strongest. So, that book better be there for both bands. That kind of has been an issue for both of these bands, is that their book has to be strong. And I think that's one thing that both of these bands kind of struggle with. So it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to pull off of here in this 5th, okay? We got the aerial view. But to be honest with you, I wish we had more aerial views of all bands, to be honest with you. It is very unique to look at, and you can appreciate it more. You don't have to worry about other outside interference with audio or nothing like that. You can just sit down and just get the audio, me personally. But that's me just rambling. But we want to know what we're going to do for this 5th quarter. So that's what we're going to be grading, all right? So look to the cards next to me so you know we'll be grading, okay? We're going to be grading sound selection, power, articulation, arrangement, and overall cleanness. Maximum points they can make in all these categories is 50, okay, to combine. Okay, so it's going to be interesting to see what these bands are going to pull off and see what they're going to do. Alright, so I'm excited to see how this is going to go. Again, I'm hoping that their book is there because that's what makes the fifth quarter for me. So, you know, we don't want to see any loops. We don't want to hear any loops. We want to hear what that pen game sound like. If that pen ain't hitting, I'm going to talk about you. So, ain't nothing personal, man, but hit that like and subscribe button if you're new, if you fast forward to this end right here. So, let's get to it. Black Central's first. Alright, let's get that a grade. Alright, so song selections 10, power, I'm going to give them a 10. Articulation, I'm going to give them a 9. Arrangements 10, cleanness is a 10. Almost so perfect, I just feel like the tubas can just play it just a tad bit cleaner when attacking with each other. I think they would be straight. Alright. Besides that, very clean. Alright, very, very clean. They got a 49 on that. 49. Not bad starting off the battle. Moving on. Okay, Clark. Okay. Not bad. Not bad at all. Let's give that a grade. Alrighty. Not bad at all. They don't got a perfect on this thing. That was nice. It was nice. Alright, song selection. Everything about that was nice. Alright. No complaints about that at all. That's a nice perfect from Clark. Okay? It's going to be interesting to see what Central's going to capitalize with. Alright? Moving on. Mm. Okay. Woo! Okay. Alright, now that was nice. Yes, indeed. Give that shit a Ric Flair moment. Woo! Oh, that shit was nice. Yes, indeed, Central. That was nice. I enjoyed that from them. All thing I have to say, if I wanted to critique it just a little bit, is that they just need to work on just small phrasing with the tubas. That's it. But for the majority, I couldn't really spot anything. You know, it was nice. It was real nice. Woo! That was a nice one. That day, that one got me on my seat right there. Alright, moving on. Alright, let's give that a grade. Sound selection. I'm going to give them a 10. Power, I'm going to give them a 10. Articulation, I'm going to give them a 10. Arrangement, I'm going to give them a 9. Cleanness, I'm going to give them a 9. Reason why I gave both of those a 9. Arrangement, it was just missing just that extra. Just needs some spice on it, man. It just needs just a little bit more on that arrangement for me just to carry. It kind of sounds like something that they will pull out after a football touchdown or something like that. But I feel like your book has to be just a tad bit stronger when you're going to pull something out in the fifth. Cleanness, I just felt like there was some thin parts in there. It was some parts that were just a tad bit muddy, but that's it. So they got a 48 on that one. Alrighty, moving on. So, song selection is a 10. Power is a 10. Articulation is a 10. Arrangement, I'm going to give them a 10. Cleanness, I'm going to get cleanness a 9. I just felt like it needed just the trumpets, man. The trumpets needed to just be doing. There was some people hanging over, some people kind of skating through in that, and that kind of hurt them on that. But it got a 49 on that, ladies and gentlemen. What I would say, since we're in the middle of this battle now, I'm going to say it now. This is the third song in. This is the third song in, and so we need to have a switch up in genre. Like we need to switch up in genre. Like, I love hip hop, don't get me wrong, but I need to get some funk, some R&B, something at this point. We need to switch up the genre. All right, we gotta remember fifth quarter. We gotta explore that book. So I will be docking if we could continue to play hip hop tunes for both bands. Thank you. Okay, Clark. Alrighty. Oh, that was nice. That was a nice perfect, man. Definitely nice perfect, man. No complaints, to be honest with you. They did what they needed to do on that. They did what they needed to do on that, man. I enjoyed it from them. I got the genre switch that I was hoping for. I got the genre switch watch I was hoping for. So I'm really hoping that Central does too. But that was much needed. That's a breath of fresh air, So, yeah, no complaints. Moving on. Okay. Yes, indeed. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That was nice. That was nice. That was real good. Alrighty. No complaints at all. That sounded very clean. I enjoyed that from them. Yes. Yes, Central. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, indeed. Let's get to it. Moving on. Okay, Clark. Alrighty. No complaints at all on that one, man. They on one Super Saiyan in this thing, man. There we go. There we go. Somebody undid it. Somebody undid it. That's nice. That's right there. I like that. I like that a lot. They came with it. They came with the finesse with that. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. We enjoyed that piece. You feel me? Look, song selection is everything. And, you know, when your song selection depends on your pen, that you better use it. Moving on. Okay. I liking this battle so far. I like how they switched the genre and they really doing it. Central. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That was nice. They on one Super Saiyan in this thing. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I enjoyed that from them. I mean, look. I really enjoyed how the arrangement was. Give that shit a Ric Flair moment. Woo! That was nice. I really enjoyed that piece from them. It was clean. It was very put together. No complaints. No complaints at all. Moving on. Okay, this is the last round that's coming up. Like this is their last round. Let's give that a grade. Sound selection is a 8. I lied. It's a 10. It's a 10. I'm getting ahead of myself. Sound selection is 10. Power is a 10. Articulation is 10. Arrangement, I'm going to give that an 8. Cleanness, I'm going to give that a 10. Alright, reason why I gave arrangement an 8 is just, it was just missing that initial edge. Like, I appreciate the push for us moving up, you know, the BPM. You feel me? I appreciate that, right? I appreciate you going back to hip hop. I'm okay with that. But the arrangement needs to be stronger. That was just a loop. You know, I feel like when you do like loop songs or something like that in the 5th quarter, it's kind of like, you know, we want to see where your pen is at. So I feel like that was a director's issue as far as going with that. So I'm gonna give that a 48. I just feel like it could have been a tad bit stronger in that department, but you kind of get what I'm getting at on that. All right. So it was just missing just that initial edge. All right. So moving on. Like Central's gonna close this out and then we're done. Let's give that a grade. So, song selections 10, powers 10, articulations 9, arrangements 10, cleanness I'm going to give them a 9. It was just missing those core things. Now granted, we can't count this against Clark because Clark did not respond to this, but you get what I'm saying. It was some parts that just needed to be sticked a little bit better, especially when the tubas. Tubas. Some parts of the trumpets that need to be better, so that affected y'all cleanness as well. But besides that, that was it. Pretty dope. Alrighty, moving on. So I really appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing y'all boys some love here. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. If y'all made it this far in a bit, please consider liking and subscribing. So we want the verdict. Who won this battle? Alright. So let me pull these grades up. So it was a tie in halftime. So we can't grade halftime because it was a tie. So, but we're gonna go ahead and see how that fifth was hitting and see who was the strongest band. All right. So we're gonna start with Clark's first, and then we're gonna do Central. .246. 246 was Clark's. Let's see what's Central's is. .248. 248. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we Central State won this battle. Alright, it was a 2-point difference, so it was a very close battle, but Central State was just stronger. Alright, so
victory.
I thoroughly enjoyed both of these bands. They both had some good points. That was fairly even for majority of the battle. One thing I would say for really Clark is concerned, they have to really work on their book selection. Their book selection hurt them, and it could have been a tie, to be honest with you. If they would have just kept it consistent and they would have gave me a stronger arrangement than what they gave me, it would have been a tie. Just me being honest with you. I appreciate them for kicking up the speed of the battle, but I just feel like that's, if you're going to give me a loop, you could have just saved it. That's just me, though. Now, when we look at Central, I don't think they have to really work on. There's some attacking issues with the band. So it's more so with the tubas and the trumpets. But if they can get that tune synced up like they need to, hey, I think they'll be even stronger. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's my verdict. Central State won this one, man. So with that being said, man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing y'all boys some love. Thank y'all so much for liking and being a part of this family. If you want to subscribe to the channel, okay? So thank y'all so much, and I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one. Like I say always, deuces.